What's up guys, TSJAwesome 628 here, back again with another F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, here with episode 7 at the Spanish Grand Prix. We're just going to sort out our activity timeline quickly, and we're going to do some aero team building to fill up the time. And we're just going to advance on to the race weekend, which was only 2 days free time we had. It is going to be completely dry during the race, so that should be good. And if you look at the performance chart, we are solidly just ahead of Alfa Romeo and behind McLaren and Renault, it seems. I purchased a powertrain upgrade, which should come hopefully for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where we will really need it. And we're just going to change out our engines for this race because they're starting to get a bit worn. I will put the old one back in for Monaco because it's not a power circuit, but for now I am going to use the newer engine. So we're going to go on to our first lap in qualifying 1. I'm going to see how good it can be, but I'm not expecting much as we head into turn 1 and through turn 2 and out through the final corner. It's not that short a lap, but it is on this one. And it's 16.7, which is 2.4 off Valtteri Bottas, so not a good lap. As we head on to our second and final lap, we have been pushed down to P16, so if it were to stay like this we would make it through, but I'm expecting Ocon behind to improve, and maybe Raikkonen as well, so we're going to have to try and get a bit of improvement. But we head through the first few corners, gaining about half a tenth. As we come round the final corner, we've gained about 6 tenths. And we are P17, so we do need to improve, but we successfully do so, and we'll be through to Q2 in 13th position. So Valtteri Bottas tops Q1, but sadly Jack Aitken could not follow us out of it and into the next session, and he will line up in P18. That's the only penalties, but as per usual it's the Williams cars on the back row, and quite often it's also the Haas rows on the second to back row. But looking at the order, you can see Mercedes, then Ferrari and Red Bull, Renault, then McLaren at Racing Point, then us, AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo. And Spain is the ultimate car track. It's all about the car rather than the driver, which is why they use it for pre-season testing. But this is going to be our first lap in Q2. So we head through the first couple of corners and then round the final corner as per usual, and it's a 1:16.4, which isn't a great lap. I can definitely improve on it, and that's exactly what we're going to try and do, as we're in 12th position currently, and we are going to go through the first few corners again and see if we can gain a bit of time as we come round the final corner now. And we are 6 or so tenths up, or 5.5 tenths up, but from P12 we can only go P11 without massive improvement. So it seems like there is a big gap between the cars, and that is true because we were still 3 tenths off Stroll, who also made it through in P10, and just passing Gasly and Raikkonen. Max Verstappen was knocked out on the medium tyres though in the Red Bull, which is a shock, but Hamilton, Leclerc and Bottas also qualified on the medium tyre, so they will also start the race. But Esteban Ocon didn't even set a lap time in the Renault, so that gave us a couple of extra positions, but we were nowhere near getting through to Q3 in terms of time, only just ahead of Pierre Gasly. But we'll be starting P11 unless there are penalties in the race tomorrow, and on a fresh set of tyres we may be able to do something.
An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Alexander Albon, and Ricciardo, Perez, Norris, Stroll, and Thomas. Gasly, Raikkonen, Max Verstappen, and Kvyat, Ocon, Sainz, Jack Aitken, and Kevin Magnussen. Grosjean, Russell, Latifi, and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid.
So this is the strategy for the race. We're going to go on the one stop from mediums to hards. I know the two stop worked at Zandvoort at the Dutch Grand Prix, but in Spain the one stop is usually the strategy to go for. And I'm hoping it launches up a few positions. Starting P10 because of Carlos Sainz's penalty. And it's 5 lights, and lights out, and away we go. And we get a good start, immediately jumping Lance Stroll, and we're trying to force our way to the inside with Lando Norris there. But we go down the inside of a few more cars, including Ricciardo and Perez, and we're now up to P6 this race. Obviously Max Verstappen not there, so we are theoretically in the best of the rest position, running slightly wide but keeping the position from Perez and keeping our P6. And we're going to see if we can hunt down and maybe challenge Leclerc. So we head on throughout the lap. Obviously he ahead is on the medium tyres along with Bottas and Hamilton for the cars ahead, and then the cars behind us, Perez and Ricciardo, on the soft, so they'll be pitting earlier. But we're hoping to go to around lap 14 on these tyres. Maybe slightly earlier if the tyre wear is as bad as it has been in previous races. But we're going to go through the final chicane here, and we get a decent run, and we're going to try and see if we can challenge Leclerc into turn 1 as we come round the final corner. He does have a quick engine though, and we can't gain on him, and wow, as we come on to the end of lap 2, that was basically, we didn't see Leclerc for the rest of that lap, and he just waltzed away from us. And now we're under pressure from Sergio Perez as we head on to lap 3. But we are holding our position down, and I would take P6 this race. That would be a very decent result for us. And as we head on to the end of lap 3, Leclerc is already coming into the pits, and he was on the medium tyres. So either he's picked up some damage, because I doubt, even with maximum tyre wear, I don't see how he could have only done 3 laps on the medium tyres. But that'll put him really behind in this Grand Prix if he's had to make a pit stop so early on. But maybe he just suffered from the tyre wear from the British Grand Prix, as Vettel's also coming in on lap 5, so maybe the Ferraris have really suffered from tyre wear, even though Vettel was on the soft and managed to go longer. But we're up to P4 now, and Albon comes in on the following lap on lap 6, which will put us up to P3. Obviously the two Mercedes ahead are both on medium tyres, so we're not expecting them to come in early, but we never know considering what happened to Leclerc. So we come on to the end of lap 7, Perez and Stroll have both pitted from behind, and now we have Raikkonen and Gasly behind us who are also on medium tyres, so they're probably going to be who we're racing this race. Obviously Raikkonen being our rival, we want to be able to beat him to boost our acclaim level. But as we head on to lap 9, we're just managing the gap. Raikkonen hasn't managed to get inside our DRS range, and as we head on to lap 10, that remains the same. He seems to be gaining time in the corners though, where in the straight, and then we just pull it away in the final chicane. He's like gaining it in the first 2 corners in the straights, and then in the final chicane he isn't that quick, but then on this straight he is rapid. So as we head on to lap 11, we're almost a pit stop behind the 2 Mercedes cars, and Bottas comes in for the soft tyre, so not going for the 1 stop but going for the 2 stop in the Mercedes as we head on to lap 12, and he will come out behind us, so we're up to P2 in this race as he comes out and then immediately overtakes Gasly. Hamilton then comes in the following lap, but comes onto the hard tyres, so he is doing the one stop, and that means he's going to be over a pit stop ahead of Bottas behind. So as he comes out clear of us, we don't get to lead the Grand Prix, and well, it looks like he can just go on and dominate it, as Bottas is over a pit stop behind him, while the others seem to be on the 2-stop. We come in on lap 13 though, a lap earlier, as our tyres were on 65% wear, so we didn't want to continue on too much longer. And we're going to go on to a set of the hard tyres to go to the end of the race, and well, hopefully we'll be able to keep that position roughly that we were in. Obviously, I'm not expecting a podium, even though we were in one of the podium positions. It would be nice, but we're going to come out in P12, and we've jumped Charles Leclerc, who is stuck behind Nicholas Latifi in the Williams car. So Charles Leclerc, his race is going to go from bad to worse after having to stop on lap 3, and now he's been jumped by me and probably by the cars behind. But he immediately gets past Nicholas Latifi as soon as we're there, and Verstappen and Gasly and Raikkonen will come in on the next lap, and they should all be directly behind. But Leclerc seems to pick up his pace now, and well, he is on the medium tyres when we're on the hard tyres, so that is expected. But we'll see whether we can hold on to the position. He gets a good run on us. It's going to go up the inside, but we're going to try and hold it around there. He's going to have slightly better drive. But if we keep our nose in there, because he runs quite wide, we're going to try and keep the position, and we get a better exit than him, and we hold P9 in this race. Obviously we're expecting a few cars ahead of us to pit, and both our teammate and Magnussen and a couple of other cars ahead of them also pit, but Charles Leclerc just breezes straight past us on the straight, but he does have to stop again, as we already know. So hopefully we'll be able to get him back, as Lewis Hamilton is out of the Grand Prix. He's been dominating it, but he's not going to be able to claim those points because he hasn't finished it. Well, that is a massive shock, and you can see him dropping down in positions. We're about to go past his stricken car on the side of the road, but we take P4. Raikkonen is back directly behind us, but wow. Bottas is probably going to have a good chance to extend his championship lead as Vettel also comes into the pits. And we are now up into the podium positions in P3. Kimi Raikkonen is pressurising us from behind, and he's going to go for a move here, but we're going to keep it round the outside and keep the position. And then Verstappen also manages to get Kimi Raikkonen, and Verstappen is now going to be the car directly behind us. And from qualifying out of Q2 and not getting through to Q3, Verstappen's actually now up here battling for the podium positions as we successfully defend against him for once. But Albon comes in, so we are now in P2 in this race, with Bottas 30 seconds ahead. But think how much further Hamilton was ahead of Bottas, about 20 seconds ahead. So as Verstappen just breezes past us as well, just like Leclerc did, but sadly for us, Verstappen doesn't have to stop again, and he looks like he's going to be able to claim P2. Bottas comes into the pits now, but will resume the lead of the race and won't be affected, as, well, he doesn't have his teammate to challenge him. So it's all about whether we can hold the P3 position. And Raikkonen, since his first challenge when Verstappen overtook him, hasn't been able to get close enough to have a go at us, and Gasly is just dropping back from him as well. So it does look like as we just slowly put some extra personal bests in terms of lap time, and we're pretty much matching our 119.7 each lap. Raikkonen does go for it again this time, but not as close as he was the first time, and we can easily hold that position. So we just need to do that for another 11 laps and we'll be on the podium, which I was definitely not expecting coming to this race, as we set a new personal best of a 1:19.5, and Verstappen is still pulling away from us. We set a double green sector, but we do not improve in the final sector, and that means that we set a slower lap time. But we're just trying to manage Raikkonen behind us, because we pull away throughout the lap, and then he gets it down to get up to 1.1, and then he just pulls it closer and closer in on the straight, and that was our problem. He was just too quick down the straight that we couldn't pull away from him. Vettel has now overtaken Gasly for P5 in this Grand Prix, so he is probably going to be one of our biggest threats for this podium position, as we have 7 laps to go in this race, and as we head on to lap 27, as we cross the line, Vettel still hasn't overtaken Raikkonen yet, so the longer Raikkonen can keep Vettel behind, the longer, more than the greater chance that we have of getting a podium. And as we head on to lap 28, Raikkonen is still holding Vettel off for now, but I'm not sure how long that will be for, as we head on to lap 29 now, and there's only 4 laps to go, and we're still in P3 in this race. But we get an important message telling us that our tyres are starting to wear, and Vettel overtakes Raikkonen, and now is immediately on the back of us. And he doesn't look like he's challenging us that much, but he just gets a great run on us, and well, there's nothing we could do to defend, and he steals away our podium dream that we had and leaves us settling for P4. With 3 laps to go, we need to try and hold Kimi Raikkonen behind us with our tyre wear that has hit these final 4 laps. Jack Aitken about 14 seconds behind, as the engineer just said, but we are outside the DRS range of Kimi Raikkonen, and hoping to be able to hold him off for the rest of this race. It would be a good finish for me, Raikkonen and Gasly to get 4th, 5th and 6th, which was definitely not expected, as, well, we make a mistake out of that corner. Luckily it doesn't cost us too much, and we're about to head on to the final lap of the race. We've completed 32 laps, and we're going to see how much we can hold for our position. And we come through the final few corners, through the chicane, round the final corner. Bottas has won, Verstappen has fastest lap, but we take P4 and improve on our best position for the team. And, well, that's an incredible drive and, well, an incredible strategy. The strategy really helped us up.
More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, good work from the owner-drivers team this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So, we take P4 with Raikkonen P5 and Gasly P6. Obviously Vettel 3rd, Verstappen 2nd and Bottas winning. But Jack Aitken got another point in P10. And we managed to outscore the McLarens and, well, pretty much all the other midfield teams. But the McLarens were the cars we were hoping to hunt down in terms of points. And we have now managed to overtake them in the constructor standings, but we jump up to P9, and Jack Aitken actually still goes down to P18 because of points for other drivers. But we are now P6 in the constructor standings, and closing in on racing points, which maybe we'll be able to achieve in the upcoming races. It will be very good to finish like a best of the rest, like P4 in the standings this season. But AlphaTauri get the first points of the year, with obviously Gasly getting P6 and Kvyat getting P9. So it's still only Haas and Williams who are yet to score, with Magnussen only one position away from the points. But not a great race for most of the two-stoppers, who couldn't really get back through the order. And that cost the Racing Points McLarens and Red Bulls and Ferraris.
That was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You were cutting your way through the field during the race.
Well, yeah, we were cutting our way through the field, but it wasn't really from overtaking, it was just more from strategy. And, well, our aero and chassis helped.
Going for you. Is the car competitive?
Yes, the car is very competitive, more competitive than I was expecting. We're getting consistent point finishes, and yeah.
You had a close battle today, didn't you?
Yeah, we did have a very close battle with Kimi Raikkonen today, because we were one position away from each other and both on the same strategy, so he was pretty much just behind us for the entire race. But in that rivalry, we do manage to equal with him because he got a faster lap than us, but it's now 21 to 15, and we are closing in on the 30 points needed to win the rivalry. But we don't go up any levels, so that will be the end of the episode, and I will see you guys next time for the Monaco Grand Prix.